Saluton, amikoj. This is Jonathan again with some more information about my favorite language, Esperanto. Today I want to talk a little bit about why people should learn Esperanto. I'm going to give you 5 good reasons and one sixth bonus reason. Probably the first reason to learn Esperanto is it is a lot of fun. You can really enjoy yourself learning this language, communicating with other people who are students of the language. It's really fun to learn. It's not at all a difficult language, which leads me into the number 2 reason that you should learn Esperanto. If you are wanting to learn another language other than your native language, Esperanto is really the best place to start because it is so fun and so easy to learn. We now have a wonderful tool. It's from a group called Duolingo, Duolingo. You can find them on the web. You can find their apps in the Google Play Store, the iTunes Store. I even have an app version for my Windows Phone. So pretty much any platform that you're on, you can get to Duolingo. And you can learn Esperanto there as well as a number of other non-constructed languages, national languages. But a lot of people now are using Duolingo to learn Esperanto. It's really kind of reviving the movement a bit, and I'm really glad to see it. Duolingo, in fact, was my introduction to learning Esperanto. I began back in November, and it is now April 2017, and I'm doing really well. I'm able to read Esperanto pretty well without having to go to the dictionary a whole lot, especially for, basic things, news articles, and that sort of thing. I pretty easily can write. I do write daily on Twitter and Facebook and other places in Esperanto. Yeah, I'm still making a lot of mistakes, but that's how you learn. You learn from your errors. So Duolingo is a great tool. Another great tool is Memrise, Memrise. Memrise has little mini courses that help you drill on specific topics. There's a lot of Esperanto courses on Memrise. You can also access them on the web, on Android. I don't believe they have a Windows app for it, but there should be one for iOS. So those two resources, Duolingo and Memrise, will really help you out a lot learning Esperanto. The number 3 reason that people should learn Esperanto is that it is a base for learning other languages. If you've never studied a foreign language, learning Esperanto first will help you learn concepts of grammar, understand how to memorize vocabulary. Esperanto's grammar is so simple. There are pretty much only 16 rules of grammar, and compare that to English, which has almost an infinite number of grammatical rules and irregular words and verbs and the sort. But if you study Esperanto first, you really get a good grounding in what it takes to actually learn a foreign language. It's sort of cutting your teeth a bit with Esperanto before you tackle something that requires a considerable more amount of study than Esperanto does. If you are wanting to study a Romance language, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, etc., Esperanto is definitely going to help you with those things. And conversely, if you already speak Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, etc., even French, you already have a little bit of a leg up on Esperanto's grammar and its vocabulary because a lot of Esperanto's words were pulled from Romance languages. Another reason, number 4 reasons to learn Esperanto is that currently over 2 million people around the world speak Esperanto to one degree or another. There's varying levels of fluency, of course, but over 2 million people around the world speak it. And I can tell you in just the brief time that I've been involved with Esperanto, particularly through social media, I have met people literally from every continent. in the entire world. I have friends in Australia, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in South America. I haven't come across anyone from Antarctica yet, but I sure would like to have a Esperanto friend who's down there. It's one place in the world I've always wanted to visit, and I am absolutely nutty for penguins. So if you are in Antarctica and you're hearing this, hit me up. Mentioning social media there, I want to let you know that, for example, if you do decide to learn Esperanto using Duolingo, there is a great Facebook group called Duolingo Esperanto Learners. I've been a member of that pretty much since I started using Duolingo. Great group, a lot of support there. It's a great place to ask questions. There are several experts who maintain the group and are always there to provide correction and guidance when you need it. I'm very active on Twitter, and I have been so surprised at the number of other Esperanto speakers that I find on there, including people such as myself who tweet in Esperanto every day. So reach out. Once you get started, reach out on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, Google Plus, LinkedIn, anywhere that you normally spend your time on social media. Look for other Esperanto speakers. Number 5 reason, and this, I guess for me, would have been reason enough even if I didn't already have an existing interest in Esperanto. Hitler and Stalin both hated Esperanto. Under both the Stalin regime and during Nazi Germany, Esperanto speakers were persecuted. A number of them were sent to concentration camps. Hitler in Mein Kampf actually denigrated Esperanto because Mr. Zamenhof, the creator of the language, happened to be Jewish. No real argument against the language on its own merits, but simply it was bad because a Jewish man created it. Stalin seemed to have an issue with Esperanto because it would allow people within the Soviet Union to communicate in a language that many people within the Soviet Union did not speak, and so it was more difficult for them to monitor such communications. Paradoxically, China has embraced Esperanto, at least since the 50s. There is a daily news outlet called El Popola Chinio that publishes online and I believe in print in China in Esperanto every day. I follow them on Twitter so that I can read their articles. It's great reading material. It's written at a pretty basic level and is accessible to most beginners. And, you know, it gives you some current events going on in a different part of the world, so it's interesting reading. But in my mind, anytime an authoritarian or a totalitarian says that you shouldn't do something, I think you should do it. So learning Esperanto, just despite people like Hitler, like Stalin, and so many others in our bloody, bloody human history, that's a good reason, I think, to learn Esperanto above and beyond its own qualities. I'm going to give you a bonus reason. This would be number 6, but I consider it to be one of the most important reasons that we should learn Esperanto. When Zamenhof originally created the language, he published the first book about Esperanto, the Unua Libro, and he used a pseudonym. Instead of signing his own name, he signed it Doctoro Esperanto. Esperanto, in the language, means one who hopes. So the very basis of Esperanto is a hope that the world will come together, that by providing an auxiliary language, a secondary language that everybody in the world could learn, it would allow them to speak to one another directly without having to first learn another person's national language. One of my favorite quotes from Zamenhof is the following. I'll recite it in Esperanto and then in English. Zamenhof said, Rompu la muroin inter la popoloi. Break down the walls between the peoples. He envisioned Esperanto as a way of uniting humankind and hopefully leading to world peace. Better communication leading to world peace. It is with that spirit that I took on Esperanto, not only as an amusement for myself because I really like language and like learning languages, but because I saw its underlying philosophy as something that I strongly identified with. So I hope that this short discussion here has given you some information about Esperanto, why you should want to learn it, and what qualities the language has, and a little bit maybe about its history. I plan to do some more of these short messages where I'll go into various aspects of the language, its history. I'll be using this a lot to practice speaking Esperanto, and I greatly appreciate anyone who takes the time to give me feedback and any correction or guidance when I say something incorrectly. But thank you for your time today. I really enjoyed recording this for you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a wonderful day. Adiao. Gis la Rovido.